Okay, I hear that the committee, the URA, runs out of these booklets, but if it's online, you can. The questionnaire is not online. Are you okay?
Yeah.
The questionnaire is not online, but you can respond. There is online. There is an email address, and you can send your views, and you can just ignore the questionnaire because it's online. It's not online. That's what you say. It's not online.
The questionnaire is not online.
No, the questionnaire is not online, so you can just give your free flow response. Maybe you prefer that actually, instead of being formed by the questionnaire. But the brochures, they are online too. So all the information that you saw today is available. You guys got microphones? I was going to. Okay. Vito and Michael have decided to stay with the audience. But if you have questions for them, they have promised that they're available for answers, but they don't want to be part of the discussion. Sorry, so it's for the audience. Sorry, I forgot that. The next thing that I have to say is that we have some clear instructions. The architects are not allowed to comment on each other's design. It's Hong Kong. I always like it when we can get a bit of a debate going, but we're not allowed to do that. So, but if you can provoke them, and please try, despite the fact that it's completely against the rules that they've been given. So, I mean, come on, let's have a bit of a debate. I mean, why do you want to put a swimming pool on top?
I've already told you so. Are you not listening?
Okay, let's just start. Who has questions for today rather than more serious than I just started it off? Who wants to kick off this off?
Rather than a question, it's a comment. This is an old lady. I mean, this building is over 70-year-old. I think of it as an old lady that should be respected as such. And you put all this paint on her face, you make it look like a tart. And I find it quite disturbing. I just like the look of the old lady, and you cannot make her run a marathon unless you want her to die of a heart attack. So maybe respecting the old lady as she is might be a better option. That's my point of view.
But Laura, that's not a question. We need a question. Michael.
Thanks, Paul. I'd like to compliment the architects. I think on giving us some really creative ideas, and I think it's great. It's a kind of classic dilemma, I think, for heritage. No intervention, a little intervention, or a lot of intervention. And I think ultimately, at some point, the financial aspects are going to have to come into play. And I would just like to ask the architects whether they were given any guidance or any direction on what the development model might be, or how what sort of financial constraints there may be on the project.
Okay, who goes first?
Okay.
Goes Mike. Well, Michael also recommended, but I think it's a good question for the architects too. I mean, are they not allowed to answer that question, Mike?
To answer Michael's question is that the brief is totally optional. We've never considered cost as the major consideration. We earmarked 50 million for the renovation of the building. Never, I think even for yesterday's at the greenhouse, 20 million would never even think about recovering it. Okay, that is the part of the social mission that we're tasked to do. So they are given a clean slate to start with, only responding to the consensus built up in the past 10 months through the public opinion survey and the charrette. Well, if you talk about costs, the minimum intervention is really money saving versus more innovation because of the structure. So they haven't given a brief. If they have given a brief with a cost consideration, they would not come up with this very very brilliant scheme that they have presented.
And if the architects like to further make a comment on money?
Yeah, we're proposing to restore the building and retain it largely, and only have minor interventions. And we try to retain the structure. And actually, the reality is that retaining a building is more expensive than rebuilding it. So, not 100% sure whether doing less necessarily is cheaper.
He likes to get more money for doing a good job. He's making a pitch.
No, look, you know that this is again we have to look at money, or course, as practicing architect, we always have to look at this. Well, however, for this kind of public building, you know, we have to think differently, because as one of the audience have already mentioned, this is 7 years old lady. You know, I can tell you that, well, from what we read from all these structural surveys, even getting people up onto the roof, you still need to strengthen all the structures. You know, not to talk about planting a tree, or putting some lawn, or putting extra activities or loading on the roof. Even getting people on the top of the roof, you need to strengthen the columns and the structure. So money has to be spent even if you don't add anything, right? So the thinking is, if money have to be spent even you don't add anything, why don't you make this money more worthwhile by giving more space to the people?
So how much does it cost to add a swimming pool?
Wow, it becomes personal.
I keep asking about the swimming pool. You know, well, building a swimming pool on top of a building is not actually a difficult part. You know, don't make the swimming pool so such big and focused. You know, you have swimming pool all over the places, and we've done buildings that you have a swimming pool and 40-story above a podium. You know, if you look at Wan Chai Market, you know, they can actually build a 40-story building on top of Wan Chai Market. So just one story and a swimming pool is, well, it's not a big deal in terms of structure. Okay.
Any more comments on money?
Yes, I would like to answer that question by two folds. I think first of all, the exercise answering from the URA is public consultation. So to begin with, the URA didn't give us quite some constraint on the monetary stuff, so that allow us to think more freely. And from our experience, we've seen my previous 5 cases. In this kind of conservation project, every time when you walk the building, every step you make, you see more and discover more and more. So the monetary control in this kind of conservation is truly unpredictable. That's what I can tell from my experience.
So this exercise is quite different from the normal exercise that we do. So this exercise, actually, we need to demonstrate to the public what can be done and what possibly can be done to these buildings. So in realities, when we actually are architects, my concept probably will not be a 3C concept, it will be a 4C concept, which having a cost at the back. But for this exercise, the most important is we need to showing the possibility to the public. So I think the cost is probably not the major issues in this exercise.
Okay, so we've got a building that's got the land for free, isn't it? Michael, the URA got the building for free. They got $500 million to invest in it. Yeah.
Well, it's for fixing it.
For fixing
I
it.
think eventually, you know, of course, we are not going to give the space to operators free, because that will have a direct impact on operators around it, right? So subsidizing operation will actually defeat.
Exactly. So the biggest question, I started with that this morning, is how are you going to charge the rent of the space? Who can rent it? For how long can they rent it? And if they're not the people that bid for the space and want to pay maximum dollar, and you put a lower subsidized rent, then how do you make your decision of who can stay in there? And how do you make your choices? So that kind of the management choice is going to be the most critical. I'd like to pass the microphone to Henry Steiner. Henry has given me some slides which I click now.
And let's hope they work.